again, but that's okay because what we're going to do is we are going to do the show here on Instagram with my co-host Discreet the Alien and the legend Terry C Carney Sr. is about to pop out here with us, and then we're going to run everything after the fact. So tune in. Terry C Carney is in. We're going to get him in. We're going to get Discreet in. Started here today, so bear with us as we get Discreet and Terry C Carney Sr. here on the live cast. All right, Discreet, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Let's hold tight. We're gonna get Terry here, and
Brilliant.
we are on go, bro. We are on go.
Brilliant. We always make it happen some way.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Everybody, we appreciate everybody tapping in. I'm gonna give the invite to Terry C Carney. Just sent that right now, so let's bear here for a moment with us as we get our most special guest on. Here he comes in. All right, Terry, can you hear us? Can you hear us okay, Terry?
Can you hear us, Terry? Looks like we're struggling.
I can see him. I can hear you.
I can. That's the audio.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get the audio figured out for Terry because I can see him and I can hear you, Discreet. I can see you, Discreet.
Yep.
But yeah, can you hear us, Terry?
No. Oh.
Interesting.
That's strange. How about we all go in and out again? I don't know. Will that help? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to check that out because we were having the same audio issues when we were trying to get him in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Yes, we can. All right. And you can see us and hear us, or at worst case scenario, at least hear us, Terry?
Yes, sir. I can see you and hear you.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. All right.
We always get there. We always get there, man.
That's the beautiful thing about live casting, man. We make it work. We find solutions, and then we're on go.
Exactly.
So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. If you tuned in with us before, you know what it is. You know how I normally start the show. I'm going to start the show a little differently today, all right? And the reason I'm going to do that because if you are seeing this right now live with us, or if you're seeing this after the fact, you need to stop whatever it is that you are doing right now. Why? Because I'm going to tell you, in the over year long that Discreet and I have been doing this, this is by far and away the absolute, I've been saying it all week. You've seen it in the promos this week. This is by far and away the absolute most important conversation that we have had to date and likely are ever going to have on this live cast. And the reason is because we are talking with the creator, the director, and the producer of the documentary that is out now. It's been out since May 7th. It is titled Put the Guns Down, a World Epidemic. And I promise you, everybody watching this in some way, shape, or form has been affected by this in their lives. And if you haven't, I pray that you're not. But unfortunately, the statistics tell that you're probably going to be at some point. And with what this living legend, Terry C. Carney Sr., who's our special guest today, is bringing to light is not just the gun violence, but Discreet and I have been talking about this morning. One of the issues that is associated with it that doesn't get talked too much about either, and that is mental health. And we're very much going to talk about that today, right? And Terry, what we typically like to do, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction to you, sir, if I may. And then what we like to do is we like to turn it over to you. That way, in your words, you can just share with the outsiders tuning in today who you are and what you're about, sir. And then again, this is an organic, authentic, unscripted conversation. And that's all we're going to do today. We are going to have a conversation about this most important issue, both of them, which is gun violence and mental health. All right. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, again, our special guest today, Terry C. Carney Sr. Couple things I want to share. Not only is the creator, director, and producer of Put the Guns Down, a World Epidemic, also owns Platinum City Golden West Entertainment, which is dedicated to producing content that challenges, educates, and inspires. One thing I want to note real quick about the documentary that we're certainly going to be talking about today is a couple of accolades and awards that have already been given for this most important film that is out there. He has received been a recipient of the Fathers in Hip Hop Fatherhood Acknowledgement Award, the TAF Dignitary Award of Supreme Excellence, 1000%. And the next couple I'm going to share, these are just a few of the awards that this film and documentary have already collected. The Los Angeles Silver Screen Festival, Best Documentary. The Berlin Shorts Film Festival, Best Documentary. The Cyrus International Film Fest of Toronto, Best Documentary. And the Santa Monica International Filmmaker Awards. And so many more. So with that said, it is our
That's one of the things
privilege.
that took me back.
No, it is our privilege and our honor to have you as a part of this conversation today, Terry. So please, if you want to just take a few moments, let the people outside tuning in with us today, or whoever will see this in the future, let them know who you are, sir, and what you're about.
Thank you very much. I appreciate for you guys having me here today. I'm Terry C Carney Sr. As you know, I put together this documentary, which is titled "Put the Guns Down: A World Epidemic." Watch it today. Watch it right this minute if you can. It's on Prime. It's on Prime. It's on Apple. It's on Google, and it's on Peacock. Please go there. Watch the movie and click the little thumbs up after you watch the movie. This is a very educational film. It's about South Central Los Angeles. It's a 12-part documentary series, which we will be producing 11 more episodes, but we want this first one to go viral, so we need everybody and their mama to join this movement and get behind this film and actually watch the film. Don't just jump on here, to be a part of watching what we got going on right now. We need you to actually watch the film and give those little thumbs up on the film. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, he's talking about put the guns down and he's against guns. This film is not about being against guns, but it's about you guys making better solutions out there instead of taking somebody's life with that gun. Because when you pull that trigger, you end your life and then you end the person's life that's on the opposite end of the barrel. So that's two lives gone at the same time. And then you're a living dead individual because now you're in the penitentiary system. And so we're just trying to save young lives worldwide. We got plenty of mentors and people joining this movement. But how you support this movement is by actually watching this film. We have a lot of my brothers that's watching right now that's been incarcerated over 30 to 40 years. I want to say free to Monster Yo. I want to say free Prentice. I want to say free Jay Burton, who's big supporters, and they are part of this movement. And we are making things happen inside these institutions and out here on the streets. Them brothers is actually helping young brothers that comes inside these institutions to get their lives right, to be able to go back out on the streets and become a better person and do something positive with their lifestyle. So shout out to Monster Yo, shout out to Prentice, and shout out to Free Jay Burton. Free all three of those brothers because they have dedicated their lives to what we're doing with this film right now. I got my right hand man, Suave, and Chili Chill from the Lynch Mob, Justified, X-Rated, and the Godfather Ice-T, who is narrating this whole film. He's in the film. We got X-Rated, who did 26 years. He's in the film dropping knowledge. We got Spice One. We got Cocaine. And it's so many to name. The Compton's Most Wanted, DJ Quick's youngest boy. We got so many people that dropped what they had to offer to this film, and it came out like a good smelling pot of gumbo. That's all I could tell you, but you gotta watch this film. We can't give out all the solutions to how to bring world peace, but what we do, we bring this platform to the table and we get everybody to start talking about different things, whether it's about guns, whether it's about mental health, whether it's about drugs, whatever it is, about bringing our society together and working together as one and uplifting our communities. That's what this film is based on. That's what the other 11 episodes will be about. So once again, check it out on Prime, watch Apple, watch Google or Peacock. It's on all those networks.
Amazon Prime.
We come again.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, exactly.
That's
So
what I'm gonna get.
we need all you guys to support this by watching this film, and we need to make this film go viral, because once we make this episode go viral, we got 11 more episodes, and we're going to show how others are living all over the country and what we can do to bring positive and peace to our community once again.
No, you're absolutely right. And Discreet, I know you have something that you wanted to kind of start off with, but something, Terry, that you said there very much, two things specifically strikes me. Number one, all the individuals that you mentioned, right? It takes a village, right? It very much takes a village. And that leads me to my second thing that prompted this thought that Tupac shared with us. Again, sadly, a victim of gun violence, right? A king lost too soon. But he said something before the physical of himself was taken away. He said something along the lines of, I may not be the one that actually changes the world, but I might be the one that sparks the mind that changes the world. And what you said there really reminded me of that, because it's got to start somewhere, right? This is not going to, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen with just one person. And the plethora of individuals that you have mentioned, these are good, solid dudes. Monster Yo specifically, I can speak to that. Discreet and I have had the pleasure of having him on our live cast before.
I've just recently met him, and he's, oh my God, there's no words good enough.
One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Same thing with X-Rated. I had the privilege and honor when I was in Kansas City back in November, by way of my brother OG Dooney out of Sacramento, who also spent 31 years of incarceration. That was his connection to X-Rated. But getting to spend dang near a week with X-Rated and bits and pieces of it, one of the nicest human beings, right? People change, right? Because something that I was talking to Prentice earlier, as you mentioned earlier today, and you know, one of the posts that he puts is he wishes that he had someone when he was young steering him in the direction of which you and everybody else that you had mentioned that is a part of this project, sir, that are giving an avenue and a path to people and young ones out there that didn't have the same paths that we grew up with. And you know, again, this is something that hits home for me. I was talking with Ernest Churchill earlier on the messenger. I was 7 years old. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, all right? Straight up Bridgeport, Connecticut to 203, all right? Bridgeport, Connecticut in the mid-90s and even today is still not the nicest of places, all right? I experienced seeing my first dead body at the age of 7 years old, second grade, going to basketball practice. I will never forget that. So the message that we're sharing here today, what you are doing with this docuseries, it hits home for me, because I experienced that at 7 years old, a 7-year-old child, and that will never leave my mind. So this is important. Monster Yo said it. Anybody watching this right now, you need to share this, because this is truly a world epidemic that's not going away anytime soon. But we can make a change little by little. And I'm going to read some stats later, but the proof is in the pudding, right? Jay-Z said it best: men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And the numbers speak to it. So it was important for me to get on that soapbox real quick, because that's how serious this is. It affects everybody. It affects everybody. So I'm going to digress for a second. Discreet, I know you had something that you wanted to kind of just start the conversation off with, respectively. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah. First off, I just think it's great that you're always bringing up mental health along with the gun violence, because I think a lot of people put the guns down, but don't mention the mental health, which you do a lot. But the first question I've got for you is, where and how did this all start? Where did your heart spark to want to do this sort of thing?
Well, as you know, I'm from South Central Los Angeles, basically, and this is our community of growing up in South Central. You could, all you hear about is somebody got murdered over here, somebody got murdered over there.
I'm in England,
You
and yeah, I
you know,
hear that.
basically that's where it started, and we just felt like we need to try to figure out some type of way to turn down all this animosity and bring the people together so that we can start trying to communicate as one. You know, we got the Crips over here, we got the Bloods over here, we got the Mexicans over here, we got the Samoans over here, the Asians, the whites. But you know, we all can get radical, we all can destroy the community, but you know, enough is enough. What can we do to try to find peace amongst each other and come together and build? So that's what we're trying to do. We put together this platform and we call it a docu-series, but we actually give people that opportunity to speak what they really want. But after every community that we visited, everybody is talking the same thing. They really want peace. Nobody wants their mom getting hit by a stray bullet, grandma, baby boy, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or getting out here brutally murdered, and you know, enough's enough. What we need real men. We got to start off with the men. Step up to this platform. I don't care what nationality you are. I'm colorblind. We need this real men to step up to this platform together as one, and we need to say enough's enough, and we need to become fathers. I don't care if you claim you don't have kids, you have a lot of kids, because you see all these kids out here out of control. So whether we in the streets or we in these institutions, we have to put these kids up underneath our wings. We have to go out here and we have to become men and guide them in the right directions and water those seeds that's in their minds to grow up to live a positive lifestyle.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Discreet. Man, that's.
It's, how do you add to that? You know,
You can't because that's as real and as black and white as it comes, right? There's no gray area there, right? I mean, you know, earlier I mentioned, you know, for people that don't know the statistics, let's go over a quick few statistics if we can. All right. First one I'm going to give: worldwide, annually, worldwide, we're talking about 250,000 plus people are victims and fall to their physical passing as a gun violence victim. That translates, I did the math already ahead, 685 people a day worldwide lose their lives because of gun violence. Let's talk about the USA. We're just talking 2025 right now, and we're not even fully 6 months done with the year. We still got another 6 months plus to go. 7,000 deaths. Now, mind you, my source, the Gun Violence Archive, for anybody that's wondering out there. I didn't just make these numbers up. You can go Google that, get stuff yourself. 7,000 deaths already this year. 12,000 injuries due to gun violence. Talking about the young ones out there and us, Terry, you said something really there that struck me as well. Whether you have a child or not, you know, we are all God's children. We are all a community. I'm a firm believer that we were not put on this earth to be alone. And if that means, you know, being a part of somebody else's upbringing, even if they're not our quote unquote blood, right? Doesn't matter. Blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. That's what it is, right? Check these stats out. And this is where really, I mean, if this isn't sad enough, this is real life. So we're just keeping it real with you because that's what we do when we're outside, right? Yeah. To date in 2025, as far as the youngins go, out of a total of 184 mass shootings in the U.S. alone, 6 months in, 225 young children between the ages of 0, newborns, and 11 years old have already fallen victim to gun violence. Yeah, 225 kids between the ages of 0 and 11 years old have died this year because of gun violence. That's sad. The next one, ages between 12 and 17 years old, 492 deaths, 1,366 injuries. Just this year alone. We got to do better. we got to do better. And I think it does start with the message that you shared there, Terry. Like, it does take the village. We have to be here for each other. We have to be here. We have to be that conduit to the next generation, to do our part to take those numbers down as best we can, even if it's one day at a time, right? So, with that said, from your experiences, clearly there's a lot of research and thought and experience that has gone into you and everybody putting this docuseries together. What do you feel, if anything, in addition to certainly the mental health aspect of it, Terry, what do you feel is the biggest challenge to making any sort of dent, minor or otherwise, into some of the statistics that I just read off and the experiences and research that you've done on your own?
Good question.
Yeah, well, mental health plays the major role into everything, because a lot of times, and coming from our community, we don't even know that we're dealing with mental health because we never had therapists. We never had none of this on our blocks. What they put on our blocks is liquor stores and, the dope man's there. And then, you trying to go to school, you're in elementary, and if you hit an alley, you probably hit a dead body or two, and, and then you got your neighborhood gangs and stuff. So we don't even realize that we're dealing with mental health by passing by this dead body. And then I have to go to school and I have to get my education. Now, I just saw a dead body. Now you want me to learn how to do a math problem. And then when I leave school, bullets is flying back and forth in front of me to get to home. And then now I got to do this homework and try to figure out how to do that math problem. And we're talking about elementary kids. So let's start off while it's young, elementary kids walking home. And this is a daily journey for them. And then they see somebody get gunned down. You see people get gunned down and everything. Okay, you're going to tell me there's not a mental health issue there on a 8-9-year-old kid that's dealing with this every day, and nobody's saying, you know what, you went through something today, but this is an everyday thing. So it's mental health, and every community has its own issues of mental health. Mental health from people that come up with money, let's say the Malibu class or whatever. Well, little Jerry is sitting in his household and he owns all the top video games, etc. So he's in there just killing people every single day. You see what I'm saying? He done killed 500 people before 12 o'clock, before the nanny comes and bring him his lunch. Think about that. Now he's doing this on the daily because mom and dad is flying over in Paris, France. They over in, Monte Carlo, this and that type of stuff. But the nanny, but you give him all this money to just, and then do your statistics on the drugs community and stuff like that. And I'm not dissing Malibu, but most of the kids start their drug habits at an early age because they got the money like that. We talking about expensive cocaine.
It's obvious.
You feel what I'm saying? And it's the same way, even if you're in the middle class or lower class from any community. I don't care if it's a small community, it's the same thing. But how everybody that's on here, have you went to a therapist when you was young? No, you didn't. And everybody on here got a story to tell about things that they went through, and they had no idea that was about or what they went through until now. You're like, dang, man, I really saw some stuff.
That's
just like
something I've realized when I got into my 40s. Something from my past really fucked me up, and I didn't realize that it had been lingering in me for all that time. Because when you're young, you're just enjoying yourself, you're partying, and then you get to your 40s and you think, why are these things happening? And then something triggers, and it's real. It's so real.
Exactly.
It is, and it's really crazy, Discreet. And you saying that, and what Terry had just finished saying respectfully as well, reminds me of when we just, I think it was last month, Discreet, that we had OG Dooney and Vanessa on, right? And Dooney said something that I know, but it didn't really hit me in a way until he said it. And he said, at the end of the day, I don't care how old we are, there's that little boy, there's that little girl in each and every one of
Oh,
us, right? But
I
what you
still
were saying,
feel like that.
well, it's true,
Mm.
Discreet, because you said
Yeah.
something there that, like, coupled with what Terry said about, you know, being a child and growing up and not going to therapists when you have some things that cause essentially PTSD, right?
Yes, that's what I've got.
To
I've been
linger.
told.
If you ever, if you never
Mm.
deal with that, well, it's still gonna be there. It's just a matter of how deep inside of you is it, right? And it's crazy because
Exactly.
I
Mm.
remember this is going back about 13 years ago, right? I was so let's use the word numb to gun violence, right? Because it was just so prevalent in my
Mm.
growing up, right? Where I grew
Yeah.
up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That was everyday life, like Terry's talking about in
Mm.
South Central LA, right?
Mm.
There's
Too
many
right.
Bridgeport, Connecticut's out there. There's South Centrals out there. There's Little Rock, Kansas City. Oh my God, the gun violence going on in Kansas City just in the
Mm.
3 months that I've lived here. Like,
I can
what the fuck,
imagine.
man? But my point is, I was out at a club 13 years ago in Fort Collins, Colorado. All right, and this is a fucked up story, but again, this is how I've been conditioned in life with the environment that I grew up in. Not testing. I was at
Mm.
a club, right? The long and short of the story was there was this very not nice person that was at this club. There ended up being a federal agent raid at this club at night. Okay, I kid you not, probably a dozen and a half federal agents burst in to this club to go and get this dude that they were seeking, who ended up being in there. Bust in, automatic guns, blah, 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 tactical gear. What do? Everybody else is ducking. It's wintertime, so everybody's running to get their coat. Like, at that point, well, what the fuck you doing worrying about your coat? Get out, right? Me, what
Mm.
am I doing? I'm standing at the bar while this is all going on, taking my shot of tequila like it's an everyday part of life for me.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Because that's
that's
what you
that's
used
the
to do.
that's the conditioning. That's the mental health. And me even saying that now,
Mm.
wow, man,
Yeah.
wow, that's wild because it just
It's
becomes like
you
somebody
grow
taking a
up
sip
with
of water.
certain
That's just
things.
what
If
it
you see it
is.
all the time, and it's like certain things when what I seen in my house as a kid, and then I got a little bit older and went to another person's house, and then I'd be like, oh, this is normal. I thought that was normal, and then you start realizing shit. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we get so desensitized,
Mm.
and we don't even realize we're dealing with mental health. But mental health
Mm.
is real. It just seems like now we able to put a label on it.
Mm.
Like, dang man, but we didn't have none of this growing up. And these kids now, they
Mm.
just running buck wild, and nobody is fathering and mothering these children out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why it's going to take the village to step up to the plate of some real individuals, moms and dads,
Mm.
and mother and nurture, raise these kids to where they need to be. You know,
Exactly.
No, and that goes back to the age-old question, right? Nature versus nurture, right?
right?
Because again, like you do to an extent get conditioned or desensitized to certain things, but if you can, and that's certainly the nature part of it. But the nurture part comes into, is that something that you want to continue to subscribe to, that mentality, that walk of life? Because again, jumping back to some of the individuals that you had mentioned earlier, the X-rateds of the world, the Monsios of the world, which I know enough about to make certain statements, or OG Doonies of the world. Like, some people who would never know these people from anybody else would look at, their history like, that's a
Proper,
bad person.
no,
How do you know that?
proper real
How do you
good human beings.
Exactly.
how do you know? They were a product of their environment, right? And again, everything that we do in life, everybody watching this right now, it's a choice that you are joining this conversation with us. It's a choice that
Mm.
I reached out to Terry to say, hey, I would love to have you on so we could talk about this, because this is a conversation that needs to be talked about every single day, every single second of life. That's my
People
opinion for
need
what
to
it's worth.
hear it as well.
Right, but it's a choice, and those same individuals, they could have chosen to continue on the path that they were kind of conditioned into, and they really knew no better in the moment, and they didn't. They chose when they had the wherewithal to be like, wow, I don't want to necessarily be that individual.
It's
And
almost like mental health needs to be tackled first, doesn't it?
I think that's a fair statement. Is that something that you would agree with there, Terry, with respect to the mental health, as it plays into to the gun violence that we're experiencing, again, worldwide?
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with that. You know, you got two type of people in this world, and this is what I tell Suave all the time. You got good and you got bad. You can't straddle the fence. You're either gonna be on the good team or you're gonna be on the bad team. You're gonna either be a part of the problem or you're gonna be a part of the solution. So what we have to do, we have to make choices in life as grown-ups, as grown men and grown women, and we got to make decisions on which side of the fence we're going to stand on. We either going to be real men, and ain't no half stepping in. You know, I got a lot of partners that, you know, LA is the gang banging capital of the world, and I'm just like this. Man, how you gonna teach these kids, you know, whether we come from Crip blood, Mexican mafia, whatever, how you gonna teach these kids and you still standing behind that blue rag or that red rag, or you know, that old chain of what we was told that lie to follow, and that chain destroyed our lives to where we at now. Now we making proper decisions, but you got to break that chain completely. You can't straddle the fence. You got to teach these kids the right way, and you got to tell them the truth. You know, I got partners that's 80 years old that have been gang banging, and they still claim that blue rag or that red rag or whatever. But the truth is, what have that rag done for you? It ain't done nothing for you. You know, I come from that same type of background, but I got to grow up as a man, and I got to take responsibility and accountability for my actions of what my past was. And now I got to stand up, and I got to hug a white kid. I got to hug a black kid. I got to hug a Native American. I got to hug a Mexican, a Samoan, and Asian, and whatever. And I got to protect them from the evil and the wickedness that's out here in this world, and make sure they get the proper nourishments of whatever it takes for them to be able to stand on them 10 toes and be the man that we know they can be and should be. And we have to keep the buzzards away from these youngsters that's trying to destroy their lives and trying to guide them into the wrong direction of doing some negative type of BS. You feel what I'm saying? That's what a real man is going to do, and that's what a real man is going to stand on. You know, if you come at me sideways, start talking about, but T, you know, woo, you know what? That's BS, partner. That's BS, and you know it. And in order for us to change the game with what we doing, we got to be real with what we say that we doing. We can't be up here pretending like we real and we know we're not being real. So if we're going to lay this foundation down, we're going to make sure we got the proper concrete and the proper blocks to build this foundation. And we're going to make this foundation strong and solid. Then we're going to build a house on it. And that's the whole village coming together, multicultural, and standing and saying, we ain't taking these bad apples no more. They coming out the batch and we throwing them away. See, we have to police our own communities. We have to police our own world to make it a better place. Whether you good, that's our team. If you bad, you on the other team. That's the way I look at things. Bring something positive to the table and let's stand on that together. But anything that you got to work on in yourself to get that self-hate out your body, then that's something that you got to work on, and that's your mental health that you got to completely remove from your foundation to make yourself become a better man. We all got things we got to work on, but this is what we got to do, and we got to stand together. That's where I'm at.
No, absolutely right there. Because at the end of the day, it's like the good old saying, right? You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like, we could sit here and, you know, somebody that we might see could benefit from some assistance with mental health or just realizing some things. That's where it's got to start. But what is that individual going to do with the information that we might be sharing? Because I think it's also a pride aspect of it, right? I mean, again, everybody has pride, men and women, but I think you know, just as kind of we're raised as men, right? You know, that's just you gotta be this big, bad, prideful man.
Be careful with pride, though.
Yeah. Well, you do, but you know, like in society
that's
tells
called
us
fear.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah.
See, a real man, is confidence in who he is.
Mm.
That's just like real men can look each other in the eyes and they already know who's who. You
Mm.
know, you ain't got to speak, you ain't got to talk or
No.
nothing else. I could walk in front of you and you can feel my presence walk in front of you. That's a real man. But see, what we get, real men got to
Yeah.
start watering the seeds of these guys that haven't grown to be the full potential of who he really is. You know, we got
Yeah.
to, it's a process. So you have to keep watering these seeds. That don't mean that he's not going to become that confident man. But what we want to do is raise confident individuals,
Mm.
whether it's men or females, etc. That's just like my sisters out there from all nationalities, colors, and creeds. I want them all to know and understand you ain't got to take your clothes off, sister. Put some clothes on. Put a business suit on. Read a
Mm-hmm.
book. I tell all my grandkids, open up that book. I don't want to see you with some shades on, throwing up the peace sign, or trying to shake your butt and do all this and not wear clothes. I'm gonna put some clothes on you every Christmas or whatever. I'm giving you a new book to read. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm gonna teach you. I want you to start reading at the age of 2, financial literacy, etc. See, I'm gonna start watering those seeds from an early age to be successful and to be positive. Because just like the entertainment world now, you pay for these subscriptions and look at what you're watching on TV. Now we all older now. Now what is your sons and daughters is watching this stuff? They even on the social media. Look how they
Something I
desensitizing.
worry about.
Yeah. Most you know, you see these little kids giving up the finger sign. Why you got that little kid on there? You see what we pushing? We pushing all that evil and all that wickedness when we need to start making them turn that programming off. You know what I mean?
I recently heard my daughter listening to Eazy-E, right? And I didn't know how to take it. I love hip hop, right? But I didn't know on one hand I was like thinking, where's that going? And on the other hand, I'm thinking she's listening to a legend. But it's a bit, do you know what I mean? I was caught in two minds. But
Well,
yeah, she's a fan of Eazy-E.
well, to that point though, Discreet, it's no different than when we were talking to Monster Yo, right? And the messages in Monster Yo's song, you know, songs plural, because there's a lot of them out there, and y'all need to go spin that if you haven't yet. But it's relevant, right? Like to what Terry was talking about earlier, Discreet. Like somebody has to be sharing at least the message, because you have to understand what it is that we're talking about before we can heal from it or be the patriarchs and be the individuals watering the seed. Well, we have to know what the messages that we're talking about with these seeds. No different than, again, the executive producer on this project, Ice-T, one of the most important things I've ever heard out of anybody's mouth ever. Okay, and again, anybody
his verse
that's
on
been
Tupac's one of his legendary albums. Oh, that verse.
And for anybody that's been living under a rock for the last 40 plus years, all right, hear me out real quick. Ice-T is the OG's OG, all right? Okay? So now with that said, he said something on the Holden Court podcast. So shout out to Ice-T and shout out to Big Court, Courtney Richardson and the Holden Court podcast for giving me this gem in life. Ice-T said on one of his episodes, because there's been a couple, he said, somebody along the way gave him crap about squaring up, right? But he said exactly, why wouldn't I want to square up, right? Because at the end of the day, let's be real here, all right? And this is for everybody watching this right now. Do you literally want to go through the rest of your life, no matter how you're moving in your life, but especially if you're moving on the side of kind of, where it's not really the nicest side that you should be moving on? Who wants to be looking over their shoulder for the entirety of the rest of their life? And Ice-T hit the nail on the head for me there. Nobody. So yeah, I'm happy to square up, because I can walk about where I need to walk about and not have to worry about anything. So yeah, square up and don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, square up and grow up, and that's the thing. You can't continue with your life taking penitentiary chances out here. Who will continue to do that? You got to grow up in the mind, and you got to say enough is enough. And being around a large crowds and all that. That ain't what it's about. See, I watch the quiet guy that's back there behind the crowd and watch his movements and stuff. And it's just like Ice. You ain't gonna see Ice all over the place because Ice ain't fit to go to any spot because you got to watch how he move. And see, you got to learn to move in silence, and that's the way it is. But back to the music side of things, it's like this. My grandkid and them, it's a certain age bracket. I love hardcore underground music. I still listen to that. We still you know Eazy-E everything. You know, like you said, Ice got a new album getting ready to drop soon, and it's music. It's music. You know, a Monster Yo. It's music, but it ain't for little young kids. You know, it's just like watching a movie. You're gonna let your kid just sit around at an early age watching Halloween, then we both got to carry you to a mental health therapist because that little kid should not be watching Halloween. It's entertainment. Music is for certain individuals. Underground music is you should be a certain age to listen to the music, and the music, it teaches you and it leads you through these streets if you listen to the right artists. You know, and that's the thing.
That's
But
what worries me.
I wouldn't have my 9-year-old granddaughter listening to an Ice-T record because that's not for her. You know, and I've been with Ice over 35, 40 years. But this is the thing. You know, you don't buy the certain games for your kids. You and I both know that. You know, it's some games out here that a 9-year-old should not be playing. You know, at least let him grow up and kind of start understanding this world a little bit. I love to sit back and watch a horror movie from time to time. You know what I'm saying? But it's for little kids. And I should have the knowledge to know that I'm not going to let my granddaughters and stuff watch this movie because I know it's entertainment, but my kids don't.
No.
You know, we have to learn to be adults and be mothers and fathers, and we have to pick and choose what's good for our children until they get to that age to where they, you know, hopefully their minds are strong enough to be able to sit down and watch that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, you know what I mean? Or listen to that Eazy-E record or Ice-T. But it's all entertainment. That's all it is. But if Eazy was still alive, he'll tell you the same thing, just like Ice-T will tell you. If you listen to what Ice said on our drop that we did, you know, we don't want to see nobody die. We don't want to see these young brothers and sisters in their life over some stupid choices in life and their lives get taken away. You know, it's just mistakes that, and that's Monster will tell you, Prentice, Jay Burton, all of them will tell you, you know, it's a lot of brothers that's incarcerated. They've made a mistake at an early age. Everybody on here have made the same mistakes that those brothers have made, and we still out here on the streets. And we would be lying if we say that we did not do some of the same things or was involved in some of the same things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hear people, oh, that guy over there is scared. No, that's a brother over there and that's a sister over there that just made a mistake. And you know what? We have to forgive them of the mistakes that they'd have made. And the things that these brothers doing now, Prentice brothers need to be free. You guys need to be writing letters to the governor, to the senators, to the mayors, and demand that these guys get their freedom back because of all the good of what they're doing now through in and out of these institutions. My game plan, I'm standing with these brothers 1,000%. Whatever letters, I'm a practice what I preach. If I tell you to do something, I'm going to do it. Jay Burton, I already wrote a letter for him. I will write a letter for Prentice. I will write a letter for Monster Yo because I see where these brothers' hearts are and they on the good side and they doing very productive work with what they're doing. And I'm fully in support with these brothers of helping them to become free with whatever we have to do. And we need to make these moves in volume, you know, to support these brothers. The same as this put the guns down movement. We need to support we need to make sure people is actually watching it, not just watching and listening to what I'm gonna say for entertainment.
I
Watch
want to.
them and put the thumbs up on it.
Yeah.
You know, we planning on in these 11 series, you're gonna hear more from Monster Yo, Prentice, and Jay Burton, because episode 4, we got a treat for you. If we can make it to episode 4 by enough viewers out here to actually watch this film. So you can catch this film once again on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google, and Peacock.
Awesome.
No, we got to run those numbers up, people. So again, real quick, I'm a reiterate what you just said, Terry. What we are talking about today, we are talking about Put the Guns Down, a world epidemic, and you need to go watch it. You need to educate yourself if you're not fully up to speed, and you need to share that message, right? Because we're talking about choices today. We're talking about being the spark to change the world, and you know what? It is going to happen one day at a time. That's the Kaizen mindset. Daily improvement. We don't have to win the world today, but we have to win the battle of today to bring us into tomorrow. Because if we could change some of those statistics that we read off earlier, if we could bring that number down by even 1 tomorrow, you know what? That's a win. Because the numbers are going up. Yes, Discreet. The number's going down, and that's the goal, 1 at a time, if that's what it takes. Because what do we do in life? We take 1 step at a time. We take 1 breath at a time. This war, and let's call it what it is. This is a war. This is a war on humanity. That's a fact. All right. I don't care what anybody else wants to say out there. This is a war on humanity perpetrated by so many things that are outside of our control. But what does that mean? What that means to me as an individual and what we're talking about today, that means that I'm going to focus on the things that are in my power, that are in my control, that can have an impact on somebody's life. And you know what? It starts at least home for me. I have a soon-to-be 11-year-old daughter, and it is my duty and responsibility as a parent to
Mine's
make sure
coming
that
at 14.
that she has what she needs to move about the right path in life, but also anything that I can share with her and she could learn along the way, to share that with her friends along the way. And that's what it is. That's that village mentality. That's that village concept, because we have to do it together, because there are so many underlying factors that are out there, and a lot of them are out of our control. But if we continue to come together and we strengthen in numbers, it's no different, Terry, than you were talking about earlier. You know, in times of need, and we're certain, with the craziness going on in the world right now, right? You know, and you're in LA. And again, we only see and hear what we see from, you know, media tells us, right? You know, but there's been rumors that, you know, this is one of the times where Crips and Bloods are coming together in LA with all this ICE stuff going on to protect their community, right? And if that's what it is, that's what it is. But that's something, all due respect to anybody out there, Crips, Blood, LK, non-related, non-affiliated, it doesn't matter. We need to come together as human beings to protect ourselves and protect our young ones from everything that is out of our control, because those are the things that we can control. And you know, I love to see a truce in something like that, but why not let it be a long-term truce? Because there's so much going on that we're not even paying attention to, that is taking over this world, and we need to continue to strengthen up those numbers. That's just a fact, man, because it's a war that we're fighting
There's
out
so
here.
much, right,
some
that
of us
people are blind to as well. They just, like, you'll tell someone what's really going on, and they don't believe you. And it's like that hurts as well, when people don't believe what's really going on.
And the messed up thing is with that Discreet, and this is to both you and Terry, the messed up thing with what you just said there, Discreet, people are, number one, so surprised when it happens, and number two, they don't even know what's happening until it actually hits them on that personal level. Then it's like, oh my God, what could I have done? I'll tell you right now, you could be listening to what's going on in this conversation
if you research,
right now.
You can see things coming. There's certain things you can see that are going to come, but if it's not happening, people struggle to believe it. But it's like a combustion system, isn't it? Sometimes, just certain of how things happen. But
it's true. Because, and see, they think it's only in South Central and areas like that, but not out here no more. It don't matter whether you in Beverly Hills, Woodland Hills, you could be in any of the hills. I'm telling you, you better watch yourself at these gas pumps. You better watch yourself in these grocery stores worldwide. I don't care where you at. You know, your life can change in a split second. You know, you think that would never happen to me. That only happened in those communities. But nah, it's happening in all the communities right now. So you really better join this movement. You really need to be listening to what we're talking about, listening to what my brothers and them is talking about, and
Watch the film.
watch the film, set your, and this is what I'm gonna tell you. Set your young kids down with you. Let them watch the film as well, because this film need to be in elementary schools, it need to be in high schools, it need to be in colleges, because we have to start talking to our young kids just in case something happened and they school gets shut up. It's happening every day all over the world. So if you as a father or a mother, set your kid down, watch this film. It's very educational. It's the true history of LA and the true street soldiers that's giving their stories about some things that happened in their lives, whether it was good or bad. And we educating you the same time about, we give a few solutions that's working out here in LA, but you know, maybe what's working in LA may not work in your neighborhood. But if we use this as a platform to start this discussions, we can have the discussion in your community as well. And that's what the docuseries is based on, and it's about, because we're going to come to different cities, whether it's a big city or small city, and we're going to show you everything what we're talking about is happening right target, just as well as it makes a target in South Central. So you got, all we trying to do is iron sharpen iron, and we trying to reach you and teach you with what's going on, so you don't end up becoming a victim of, you know, what we talking about. Education is the key, right?
Definitely.
And that's where it's got to start, and it does. For a lot of us, it does start at home. You know, truth be told, I mean, you said something earlier as well, Terry, like that reminded me, like growing up, you know, I've been lucky enough to have the family that I do in my household, right? I grew up and I got to a point in life where I was like, hey man, I don't want to have any kids. I don't want to have any kids because this is a very crazy world that we live in, and I'm on my second marriage. It will be my last marriage, but with that marriage came at the time a very beautiful 2-year-old that is my daughter. As I mentioned earlier, is almost 11 years old. And man, I'll tell you, being a father is the best role I've ever had in my entire life, because I get to make a difference in that young girl's life. And, you know, even some of her friends, like some of, you know, we as parents don't realize this either sometimes. So if you've not subscribed to this, your kids' friends that come over, you don't realize, good, bad, or indifferent. All right. This is across the board. The impact that you can actually have, you know, to what Terry said earlier, even if you don't have kids of your own, there's probably a time in life where you as an adult, you're going to find yourself around children, even if it's just at a birthday party or whatever. And you're never going to see that kid ever again. I'll tell you this right now. That's an opportunity for you as an adult to make an impact on that individual. And sometimes you don't even realize it, because, again, I remember when I was a kid, I always looked up to adults, if I knew them or not. That's kind of how it is when you're a child, right? So
I remember as a kid, like mum and dad were like, it was like they were gods. They owned the world. It was like they would have, like, do you know what I mean? That's how I first looked at them. They controlled everything. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy how kids are influenced. Do you know what I mean?
100% discreet. 100%. So quick question, because again, this has been we've literally just been talking. I haven't even necessarily asked a question yet, but I do have a question, Terry. Very much staying on topic of what we're talking about. You obviously mentioned, you know, part 1 of the 12-part docuseries is out. How far along, or how close are we, is maybe the way to put it, to potentially, you know, getting that 2nd, 3rd, 4th? I know obviously the viewerships is going to continue to help running those numbers up. So again, people, you got to run these numbers up. Put the guns down. A World Epidemic, Google TV, Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, and Peacock is where you can find it. So you heard it. Go watch it and tell everybody in your life to go watch that as well. So now with that said, again, Terry, my actual first question, I think, to you of the hour long that we've almost been talking here. How close are we, in the next part to that docuseries, sir?
Well, I'm gonna say it like this: we're getting ready to start production, but we're still out here hustling like it's the Last Supper. We will continue to hustle like it's the Last Supper because the type of numbers that we want to have, we want to shock people like Netflix. We want to shock people like Paramount, Warner Brothers, with showing the world that these are the type of platforms that we need, that we want our kids watching. We don't need to be pushing, showing our daughters and stuff without clothes on, twerking. I don't knock nothing, but if that's what you do, that's what you do. But I don't want to be paying for a subscription for that for my grandkids to only be able to watch that type of programming. I want them to be able to watch programming that's going to uplift their lifestyles and things of that nature. Because in the entertainment business, they only want to give budgets out to that type of stuff for our community, and we got to change the narrative of that. So we want to see 100 million viewers for this first episode. That's what we need to goal ourselves. Everybody that's a part of this movement, we need to see 100 million viewers. So we need to make the media start talking about that. We done bust the clock with this first episode and let the industry know. So with that statement.
Nah, so true. And I want to note something real quick. Discreet, you want to know what's funny, Discreet? And I just saw it in the comments. Shout out to Ernest Churchill, who's in the comments watching with us right now. We literally were at about damn near 200 viewers, and we went down to 5. You know what? We've joked about this, Discreet, before. We come out here and talk about real-life topics. We come out here talk about real-life topics. The man, whoever's trying to run this shit, trying to shut us down. But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, man, look at my face, read my lips. That just means we about to get a little louder because we ain't going no motherfucking where.
That's
we
a part of the problem as well.
Like, come on now, stop that shit.
I think part of it is the elites, like they've got a narrative they want to keep pushing. Do you know what I mean? I think that's part of the problem as well.
It is.
But I should shut up
part
about
of the problem.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good because if they want to shut us down, guess what? I'll start another live cast. I'll start a new Instagram if that's what I got to do because we are here. We are not going anywhere. This is real life, people. This is real life. We're talking about your mothers. We're talking about your brothers, your children, your uncles, your co-worker. This is what we're talking about. If you can't get with this,
should not happen. Do you know what I mean? People should only be dying because of like ill health, old age, and that's the only reason that we should be dying. Just
exactly. We out here pushing to save lives, and see, they don't believe it until it affects they family, and they'll say that'll never happen to me. Oh yeah, it's happening every single day somewhere. As we speaking right now, somebody's life just got taken by gun violence or some type of mental health murder. Trust me.
No, you're right.
The duration of this live, it's probably
no. Let's do. I'm gonna do some real quick math. Earlier, I shared the statistics. Again, the source is from Gun Violence Archive. Worldwide, 685 people a day die. All right, we've been on this live for just about an hour, 24 hours in a day, right? So let's see how many people have lost their lives in the last hour. I'm so passionate and juiced about this right now. I'm really good with math. Normally I can do this math, but I'll just put it this way. A lot of people have lost their lives to gun violence just in the hour that we've been sitting here talking about it. That's wild. That's wild.
That's crazy.
Wow, man.
It's got to be
it's crazy. Well, I'll throw the number out there later, but it's been a lot, and it's senseless. It's senseless. It's straight up senseless. And I know we certainly have a little more talking to do. And Terry, again, I said to you before we went live, I will sit here, I will talk about this till tomorrow. So we're going to be respectful of your time. But, you know, oh God, I'm so passionate about what's going on right now. I lost my train of thought. This is something that needs to be talked about, people, and we're not going to stop talking about it. This is not going anywhere. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm here for it, Terry. I'm here for it. I have, you know, again, the beautiful thing is about that village coming together. People in the village have certain resources or specialties that they have. And again, this is respectfully unsolicited and solicited. I'm here for you. I'm here for this. I don't want nothing, because this is we're talking about human lives. I want three things in life, and anybody that knows me, you know, knows this about me. I want three things in life. I want to take care of my family. I want to be an asset to people, and I want to make music. I want nothing else. And we're talking about human lives. And if there's any way, shape, or form, Terry, and you know, we are connected as well. At this point, as things continue to unfold, if I could ever be a resource to you and to this docuseries of what's going on right now with the resources, because I have other connections with other filmmakers throughout the country as well. And literally, I don't want anything in return other than the opportunity to be an asset and a resource to what you're doing, if I could ever be so privileged to do so. So I just wanted to say that before we go any further, and very much certainly before we get off this live, because that's the asset part of what I want in life. I want to be a resource to people, especially where it's on brand for me, and saving human lives, changing mental health for some individuals, even if it's just one person. Well, that speaks to me. That's on brand with me, because that's what I want as a human being. I want to make a difference in the world before my physical being leaves this earth. If I could have just changed one person's life or made an impact on one person's life, then you know what? The way I look at it is, I left this earth a lot better than I came into it.
It's ultimately what we're here for, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. To help each other and just like look after each other.
That's it. That's it.
I
right
think that's
there.
the main reason.
Yep. That's it. You already on the team, both of you. You know, we're and that's what the village is all about. Join the village. Let's make these moves. Let's communicate. Let's you know, Suave is my right hand man. Hit him up if you haven't heard from me. What you talking to Suave is just like talking to me. You know, I'm out here making moves. Whatever you got something going on, cracking, hit me or Suave up. Let's communicate. Let's set the game plan down, and let's keep making these moves and saving lives out here. And that's even with the rest of the team. That's that from Monster, Prentice, Jay Burton, Chili Chill, Justify, X-Rated. All of us is all together. Cocaine. All of us is on the same team. You know, we out here making moves, brother. Ice-T, everybody. So this is our village, and we're gonna grow. Our village is gonna grow even stronger, and that's what we doing. We are pulling everybody together, all the resources, etc., so that we could try to save some of these lives out here and get these youngsters on the right track and start living a positive lifestyle.
Exactly.
Absolutely, it's got to start somewhere. And this is a catalyst, a very, very, very big one. So make sure everybody watching this, whether you're watching it live with us now, or you're going to see this after the fact, because I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as we are done with this later on today and I download it, I'm going to be rerunning this. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to rerun it over and over
and it'll be on the YouTube channel.
It's going to live on the YouTube forever.
Yep.
And, you know, Terry, we'll obviously talk offline. You are welcome. The door is always open to all of our family members on the We Outside live cast.
Thank you, brother.
Most especially to you. So, you know,
We
going forward, anything new that we need to talk about.
I appreciate both of you. I appreciate you both.
Sincerely, it's an honor. It's a privilege. This is a message that needs to continuously get out there. And, you know, even if you're just like one day, hey, we got something new coming on. I don't care if it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't care if it's 3 times
Next
on a Tuesday.
episode.
We will come out and we will talk about this and have you have an open platform here anytime that you want.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Hands
I appreciate it.
Now,
I totally appreciate it.
And we're appreciative of you. And God, like I'll let me take a breath.
There's no words, is there? I get that like a lot. And I'm trying to find the words, and there's nothing appropriate to like express how you feel. I get that a lot. When I mean it, there's no words that I can't express.
I totally
Well, think about
appreciate
it.
both of you, man. I really do. We totally appreciate all you guys, man. Everybody that's on here watching now, we appreciate you guys taking your time out, watching and listening to what we're talking about. We hope everybody on here follow the movement, join the movement, and if it's some kids playing in your community right now, you know, don't be afraid to become a big brother or a big sister to those kids. You know, watch over them and make sure that they ain't doing stuff that's out of pocket. You know what I mean? So that they can have that opportunity to do the same thing when they grow up. You know, be a factor in their life.
No, you're absolutely right, and it happens in the most. It could happen in the most simplest of ways, right? Because, and I'm gonna tell you all here in a second of how simple it could be and how impactful it could be as well, right? But I want to say something real quick because I'm in the midst of a hip hop challenge that I gave to myself, right, a couple months back, and I rewrote to over 100 songs from 1990 to 2005. Number 27 was Tupac's "Keep Your Head Up," right? So I made a "Keep Your Head Up" 2025, and I put a lyric in there because I stayed on brand with the message that he put into that track so long ago. And you had mentioned earlier, Terry, as far as whether you have a child or not, at the end of the day, we as men, I'm talking to the men right now. I said this line in there. It starts with the patriarchs. It's time to man up. That's a fact. It starts with the patriarchs. It's time to man up. The time is now. If you're watching this right now, this might just be that calling to you, whether you have a child or not, because even if you don't have a blood child, to what Terry just said, you have a child in your community. You might have a child that's your neighbor. You might have a child that's across the street. You might have a child that you just say what's up to when you're doing your morning walk in the morning and they're at school, playing out in the schoolyard or getting ready to go to school so they can get educated. You know what? You as a patriarch, you as a man, you are a teacher of as well. You are a teacher of real life out here. You are a teacher of your experiences. And before I just went off on this little soliloquy, I said, I'm going to tell you the very easiest way to make that connection, as Terry said, with that young child that you might come into encounter with, because a lot of people don't realize this. As far as the communication process goes, right, there's many different pieces to it, but not a lot of people know that the most impactful part of the communication process is nonverbal language, which equates to on average about 55% of the communication process. So back to the question that I threw out to you guys before.
And it goes back to what Terry was saying earlier. It's all in the eyes as well. When you
100%.
When Terry said that, I was like, no way, that's what I get. 15 seconds, and I'm like, he's a bad person. I just see it. You just see it.
And that's exactly where I'm going with this.
Good person most of the time. Yeah.
All you need to do to make a connection, whether it's with that young individual or any human of any kind, nonverbal communication, a smile. A smile is one of the most welcoming things you can do to somebody. And think about it. You're not even saying anything. You're just smiling. And it's that simple because, again, it's a choice. You have a choice to smile at that person that you're encountering with your nonverbal communication for the first time, or you have the choice to just keep your head down and keep on walking. That's on you as an individual. Nobody else. You. Exactly. That's where I'm going to leave it. I don't have too much else to say. I'm going to leave it right there. I've said enough for today. I can keep on going, but I'm a digress. Discreet, I'm going to open it up to you before we, of course, have our very special guest, Terry C. Carney Sr. Share any final thoughts that he has with the Outsiders today. Discreet, my brother, any final thoughts that you would like to share with us today?
Everybody's watching this, go and watch Put the Guns Down, World Epidemic. Just first do that. But yeah, we just spoke about so much today and just, oh man, you just got to watch this back and just listen, because it comes from mental health and the kids. You got to get to them when they're young to make them realize it's hard, but we got to do it somehow. And the more people realize, I think year by year we can get there. You know, I don't know if I'll be around, but to look back and think, you know, people are only dying because of old age now. Oh my God, wouldn't that be beautiful? Do you know what I mean? But
Yes, it would.
someone's got to start it. Someone's got to start it, and Terry's joining in. Do you know what I mean? There's, you know, people all over the world that's gonna want to be good. So yeah, just we're
Well
on the
said,
right
Discreet.
path, I think, as a
100%,
human
man.
race.
One step, one breath at a time.
Yeah.
That's what it is, Discreet. So thank you just for that, Discreet.
Mm.
Terry, any final thoughts that you would like to share with the outsiders today? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think this is going to be the first or last conversation. Well, this is certainly the first, but I don't think this is going to be the last conversation that we're going to be having out here with you, sir, if we could be so lucky on the We Outside Livecast.
I totally agree. I'm coming back, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. I want to thank you, brothers, for becoming a part of this movement, becoming a part of this village, and to all the young people and just people in general, we just want you to please take a second, take a deep breath before you pull that trigger out there and try to take somebody's life at the same time taking your own. You know, we ask everybody to turn your television set on, whether you have Prime, Apple, Google, or Peacock. Turn it on right now. Start watching Put the Guns Down, A World Epidemic. Click that little thumbs up button. We're trying to get at least 100 million viewers so we can make these networks understand we all about uplifting our communities worldwide. So we need you guys to join this movement and push this film, make it go viral everywhere. And shouts out once again, Free Monster Yo, Free Prentice, Free Jay Burton, because they are strong brothers that's a part of this movement. And support Platinum City. The name of our company is Platinum City Golden West Entertainment and Films. Support us in this movement, join this movement, and let's continue these platforms and these discussions to save lives and check in on your brothers and sisters. You know, have a mental health check-in. You know, call your brother up and say, you know what, how you doing? You know, and then they'll probably say, I'm doing all right. And then say, okay, well, you told me that, now I need to know how you really doing. It's okay to call your brother up and ask him how he's doing. You know, that's the problem. We don't show real love. Real friends is going to want to check in with you to find out how you really doing. And we need, as men, we need to have these conversations, because if we can start having these kind of check-in conversations as men, then we can start having these check-in conversations with women and our wives and children and grandchildren, etc. You know what I mean? So we got to start somewhere, but we got to start with self-help first. You know, love all y'all, man, and you know, put the guns down. Let's save some lives out here.
100%. Well said, Terry. Thank you so much for this conversation today. Everybody that tapped in with us, it's been said in the comments, it's been said by all of us today. Repost this.
Yes.
Share this. You want to know how easy it is, how quick it is to do the thumbs up that Terry said?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's easy. It's that easy to share as well. So do it, peeps.
Man, because it does. This is a message that literally affects every single person in the world. That's a fact. I mean, that's a fact. So run it up, run those numbers up, share this, share the Put the Guns Down World Epidemic with somebody that doesn't know what it is. Watch it.
Prime, Amazon,
share your thoughts on it.
Prime, Peacock, Google TV.
You can make a difference. Yeah, 4 major platforms is great.
Yep.
Amazon Prime, Google TV, Apple TV, and Peacock. It's out there for everybody to watch. Everybody can go out there and watch it. Share the message. It's important. And anybody, if you just tapped into us in the last couple minutes, once we are done here today, I'm going to be restreaming it through our restream software. It is going to be up and it's going to live forever on our YouTube channel. But here in the next probably hour or so, I'm going to go ahead and reshare it. It's going to be running on YouTube. It's going to be running here on Instagram, and it's going to be running on our Facebook page as well. So this is not a conversation that is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. If anything, like we said earlier, when they try to shut us down and quiet us, we're turning the volume up. So tune in, because y'all need to tell the others, open that door. We outside, baby. Terry, again, we appreciate you, sir. We're going to link in again. We are locked in. We're going somewhere with this. We appreciate you. Discreet, I appreciate you and your time as always over there in the United Kingdom.
It's been amazing.
I appreciate both of you brothers. I really do.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate it.
Much appreciated. You be well. You stay well. And we will definitely be talking very soon, King. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right. Everybody
Peace.
have a beautiful, safe day out there. Enjoy the weekend. Be well.
Awesome.